Hey guys, Ben Sturdivant here with ExponentialFreedom.com. Thank you so much for plugging in today. I'm going to talk to you about something that I feel is probably one of the most important things to focus on in your journey in building a network marketing business, and that is this emotional roller coaster that you're going to find yourself on. You see, when you first start out in the business, you're very excited on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the most excited you could be. Without a doubt, you're a 10. I remember when I first got started, I took the kit home and I was so pumped up and so excited about my new business. I read through the entire thing. I was so excited about what I was doing. And you should be. You've got this brand new business with all this potential and you're starting to dream again, and it's very fun, it's very exciting. But inevitably, what do? Well, most people do what I do. I went through and I saw that the company said make a list. So I made a list and I went out and I started to contact those people. The first person that I called was that person that I was sure was going to do it. Really good friend, best friend, done everything together, grew up together. I was certain that he was going to join the business. And of course, I get on the phone and I said, hey Dylan, I'm excited about something. I got to share it with you. And he said, well, sounds great. What is it? And see, I didn't follow the training. I didn't say, well, I'm coming over to show you a video. This is back in 1997. So we didn't have DVDs yet, didn't have websites yet. It was really just give them a videotape, follow up. But I didn't do that. I proceeded to tell Dylan about my opportunity and spent the next hour and 45 minutes with him, talking to him about compensation plans and percentages and coded and levels and all these different things. And needless to say, he didn't join with me in the business, and he certainly avoided me for probably 6 months after that. But the bottom line is, I was so excited, I didn't even think about following the training. And that's typically what new people do in our business. They go out kind of ignorance on fire, and we kind of like that. But what happens is they haven't really prepared themselves for what they're going to encounter. Because what do you think happened to my excitement level on that 1 to 10 scale when Dylan said that he wasn't interested and started to avoid me? It went down. So I went out to another person. I talked to them, and they said no. And now my excitement level is maybe on a 2 on a level of 1 to 10. And I'm thinking, well, geez, this recruiting thing doesn't work, so let me go try to sell the product. And I tried to do that, and a family member wouldn't give me the time of day, and now my excitement level's down to a 0. And this is typically where a large percentage of networkers quit and give up on their business. It's at this 2 level or 0. And look at what they've done. They've talked to a couple of people about the business, maybe one person about the product, and they're already ready to give up on their dreams and on their future. And I know that sounds a little ridiculous. And if you're new to the networking profession, you're probably very excited about your business. But if you've been around a long time, you understand what I'm talking about. Okay, you go out of the gate with all this excitement, and for most people, they hit those traditional roadblocks and they fall down into this valley in their business. And it's very important at this point to plug into your company's system, to plug into the leadership, to plug into your upline, read some books, work on personal development, and push past this point. Because if you do that, eventually what's going to happen is, you're going to probably enroll someone. And then what happens to your excitement level? Well, it shoots back up. You're back to a 10 again. But then what happens? Well, a week goes by and you don't see massive duplication from this person. Most likely the person's not doing anything at all. They're not plugging into the system. And now what happens to your excitement level again? Well, it plummets back down again. And then, you keep plugging in, maybe you enroll somebody else, and now your excitement level shoots back up. And now maybe you get your first taste of leveraged income, where this person now starts to put some other people in your business, and now you're thinking, yeah, I could get used to this. And you get your first, I remember when I got my first check from effort that I didn't produce, I was so stoked. I was so excited about it. But what happens? Well, maybe down the road, a period of time, that person who was producing, putting these people in, maybe they, something happens to them and they fall off the face of the earth. Maybe they go join a different company and they start taking people with them. What happens to your excitement level? Boom, it plummets again. And if you've been in this business, in this profession for any period of time, you've experienced these ups and downs, these peaks and these valleys. And what I've found is that the best way to make it through these is to understand them, to welcome them. I've talked before about, dealing with adversity and and welcoming it and being excited about it, because every time you experience a challenge, that's another notch on your leadership belt where you're going to be able to help other people through those things too. I also believe that personal development is very important. You know, you're plugging into a form of it now, but it's not just this. It's so many different areas. Live events, I think, are very powerful. Art Jonak does a network marketing mastermind that he does around the country once a year, and it's phenomenal. Just getting in the room with thousands of motivated, driven entrepreneurs that are all going in the same direction, all from different companies, but no one's trying to recruit each other. It's all just people supporting each other. Putting yourselves in environments like that are great. You know, your company conferences, your company regional events, live training calls, presentation, webcasts. You really want to try to get into a habit of doing these things daily. That's going to help you kind of navigate the ups and downs of that roller coaster. And most importantly, it's identifying what your real reason for doing this is and keeping your focus on that. I think one of the biggest things you can do is identify what I call what your pain is. I think people are motivated by two things. I think they're motivated by pain and by pleasure. I just feel people are more motivated by pain. If pleasure were enough to motivate everyone to stick with this game and stick in this profession, then everyone would be successful, because everyone wants more stuff. They want more cars and homes and toys and more financial independence. Those are all pleasurable things, but the reality is people are motivated by pain. You avoid picking up the phone and calling that prospect because you're afraid of the pain that's going to cause if you're rejected, or the uncomfortable feeling that you're going to have. You're afraid, you're avoiding that situation because of that negative feeling. What you need to do is you need to turn that around, okay, and find a way for that pain to push you, to motivate you to do more. And let me give you a real life example. For 3 years in network marketing, I dabbled in this profession, literally. I mean, after 3 years, I had a total of 24 members that had joined my team, but I had paid for 23 of them to join, okay, which was, of course, against the company rules, but I didn't listen to that. And none of them did anything, of course. I figured that if I just paid for them, they'd get in and they'd do something. Well, that's a whole other video, but it didn't work. And I spent way more money than I ever made in this profession for many years. But then what happened is I stayed plugged in through all that time, thankfully. Like most people, you know, they would have quit long before, but I stayed plugged in. I learned a lot, went to all the company conventions. But what happened was I got married, and my wife and I wanted to have a family, and she really wanted to be home with her kids. She was raised by a mom who was a server in a restaurant, so from 3 or 4 in the afternoon until midnight, her mom was gone most of her life, and that was not something that she wanted. She didn't want her kids growing up without a mom in the home, and I couldn't give her that on my income alone. We live out in Northern California in the wine country, very expensive place to live, and if we wanted to have a nice, comfortable lifestyle, we were going to need more money than just my income. So I had to go out and find a way to generate income. Well, thankfully, I was already involved in network marketing, and I decided to take it seriously. I knew people in the profession that were making the kind of income that I needed to make to match her income. She was a microbiologist, and I was working in physical therapy, and I got greedy. I wanted to match mine too. But what I found inadvertently is my why, my reason to do it. But what I needed was something to push me. And what it was the pain. And see, what I did is I made my wife a promise. I said, you're not going to have to go back to work in a certain period of time. And it was that uncomfortable feeling that I had every time I saw her. I'd come home from work, and the last thing that I'd want to do is get on the phone and make some calls. All it would take, though, is for me to look at her and say, geez, I made her that promise. I can't let her down. The pain of letting her down and letting myself down was far, far greater than the fear of being rejected, or the fear of making that call, or the fear of following up. All of those fears were pushed aside because I used that pain in a different way. So that ultimately is the thing that helped me get through that emotional roller coaster. So take a look at the things in your life that you really want to have, but ask yourself how you're going to feel if you don't accomplish those things. And if it's painful to not accomplish those things, that's your pain. That's a way to turn that around and use that pain to motivate you to build your business. So hopefully this little tidbit helps you. I hope you guys are having a lot of success in network marketing. And if you're not yet, like I wasn't yet for years, stick with it because it's well worth it. And I'll tell you what, the lifestyle that you can have at the end of that roller coaster is truly amazing. I wish you guys the best. Thank you so much.